She called the cops on my kids' laughter. Our HOA president, Karen, Brenda actually, called 911 after blocking my family from accessing our own lake cabin. She lied to the police, claiming we were threatening her. But what she didn't know was that I was about to uncover something that would flip her world upside down. The woman who tried to destroy my family now pays me monthly, just for the privilege of driving past my house. Let me take you back to the beginning. Last June, we inherited a beautiful lake cabin from my grandfather. Emily and I, along with our 2 daughters, were absolutely thrilled. We left the city behind and drove 3 long hours dreaming of summer afternoons spent fishing, roasting marshmallows, and relaxing under the stars. The cabin? Picture perfect. Panoramic lake views. A gravel road lined with oak trees leading to a charming front porch. It was like something from a vacation brochure. I remember thinking this is exactly the peaceful paradise Grandpa wanted us to have. He'd lived there for 40 years, always telling stories of fishing trips, neighborly barbecues, and peaceful mornings by the water. Ryan, he once said, this is the place where our family can truly rest, far from the city's chaos. But peace wasn't what we found. Barely an hour after we unloaded our bags, there was a knock at the door. Standing there was a woman in her 50s, precise bob haircut, wide, unnatural smile, the type you see on someone selling you overpriced insurance. "I'm Brenda," she chirped, "president of the HOA. Welcome to our beautiful neighborhood." Emily, ever the gracious hostess, invited her in for iced tea. But from the start, something felt off. Brenda didn't just look around, she scanned every corner like a surveillance camera. Her eyes paused on our trash bin, the welcome mat, even the position of our car. Then with that same fake smile, she handed us a thick booklet, HOA Community Guidelines, 47 pages long. Emily and I exchanged a glance. 47 pages? For 12 houses? When she left, Emily turned to me and asked, "Did you notice how she was taking notes, like she was inspecting us?" That was day 1. And the attack began the very next morning. At exactly 9 o'clock a.m. the next morning, the first email arrived. Violation notice number 001. Trash receptacle left outside beyond the 90-minute limit as established by community regulations. Fine, $25 payable immediately. I thought, this has to be a mistake. But by 11 o'clock a.m., another email came. Violation notice number 002. Welcome matte color blue does not comply with community aesthetic standards. Replace with approved beige or brown within 48 hours. Fine. 50. Seriously? The matte color? This felt ridiculous. But it didn't stop. At 2 p.m., another violation notice number 003. Children's laughter exceeds noise limits during quiet hours. 12 on 3 p.m. Measured 45 dB, limit 40 dB. Fine. 75. Emily read that one and snapped. Our daughters were playing, laughing, on our own beach. By 5 p.m., yet another. Violation notice, Mercer 04. Vehicle parked 15 centimeters off designated garage alignment. Fine, 30. 7 p.m., she struck again. Violation notice number 05. Lawn chairs not approved. Fine, $100. 8 p.m. Violation notice 006. Window blinds not uniform with community standards. Fine, so 60. And finally at 9 p.m., the grand finale. Final warning, failure to comply within 24 hours may result in legal escalation, including liens or foreclosure. Emily stared at the list, voice shaking. Honey, that's $340 in one day. This wasn't HOA enforcement. This was war. So I started investigating. I walked the neighborhood, noting everything. Trash bins out all day, welcome mats in every color, music playing freely, kids laughing at all hours. Emily was right. Brenda wasn't targeting everyone. She was targeting us. I didn't know why yet, but I intended to find out. The next blow came when we returned from a grocery trip. A black SUV blocked our gravel road. Our road. Brenda stood beside it, arms folded, dialing 911 as we approached. I'll never forget what she said, loud enough for my children to hear. "There's a threatening man in a large vehicle with children. I'm scared for my safety." Emily gripped my hand, and our daughter, eyes wide, asked, "Daddy, why can't we go home?" Every instinct in me screamed to step out and confront her, to demand justice, to defend my family. But then I noticed the phone held just so, recording, waiting. Brenda wanted me to snap. She needed me to lose my cool so she could play the victim. Instead, I stayed still. 10 minutes later, a police cruiser rolled in, lights flashing, gravel crunching under its tires. Officer Davis stepped out. He looked tired, seasoned, like he'd seen this drama before. He walked up to my window and asked, "Sir, is there some kind of serious problem here?" I kept calm. "Officer, this is my family's legally inherited home. She's blocking our private road. We haven't said a single word to her." Brenda, suddenly trembling, played her part to perfection. "Officer, I'm a widowed woman, and he's been threatening me all week." Davis sighed. You could see he'd had enough of HOA drama. After reviewing my ID and verifying the address, he gave us the verdict. "This appears to be a civil matter. I can't intervene on private access disputes between neighbors. You'll have to settle this legally." And then he drove away. Just like that, we were stranded, in our car, outside our own home. My youngest daughter started to cry. "Did we do something wrong, Daddy? Are we bad people?" My wife held them both, eyes red with fury and helplessness. "No, sweetheart," she whispered. "We didn't do anything wrong." But inside, I felt like a failure. As a father, as a protector. The next morning, I turned to the one man who might understand what was really happening, Mr. Peterson. He'd lived in this neighborhood longer than anyone else. A retired lawyer, wise, observant, quiet. I explained everything. And his answer? "Ryan, every few years, Brenda targets one family. And then, like clockwork, they move out. Fast, quiet, vanish." He'd seen it happen before. Again and again. And no one ever fought back. Until now. "Disappear?" I repeated, my voice tight with suspicion. Peterson nodded solemnly. "They sell at a loss. They leave. And the same company buys the houses. Every time." "Which company?" I asked, already fearing the answer. He took a slow sip of coffee. "Look through the public property records. You'll see it yourself." I spent that evening glued to my laptop. Emily sat beside me, her hand resting gently on my shoulder, silently lending strength. House number 12, Martinez family. Purchased in 2019 for $480,000. Sold in 2022 for $320,000. A $160,000 loss. And the buyer? Midlake Properties, LLC. House number 8, the Thompson family. Bought in 2020 for $510,000. Sold in 23 for $380,000 after receiving 52 violation notices. Buyer, Midlake Properties, LLC. Then, house number 15, the Mitchells, same pattern. Bought high, sold low, after months of harassment. Buyer, you guessed it, Midlake. That company was scooping up these homes after Brenda drove the owners out with manufactured violations and unbearable pressure. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a scheme. Emily stared at the screen. This isn't HOA enforcement. It's real estate fraud. I searched the business registry. Midlake Properties, LLC was founded in 2019. The listed owner? Marcus Webb. Then, on page 3 of the search results, everything clicked. An old newspaper article. Local investor expands real estate holdings with help from family. Quote, Marcus Webb, working closely with his sister-in-law Brenda, focuses on undervalued properties with development potential. Sister-in-law Brenda, Emily gasped. It's literally a family scam. She wasn't just a power-hungry HOA president. She was part of an organized plot to target families, force them out, and profit from their pain. I printed every file, every document, every violation notice. We laid them across the dining table like detectives on a caseboard. The evidence was damning. And Brenda? She had no idea what was coming. We didn't waste a moment. The next morning, Emily and I visited the county recorder's office, armed with a thick folder of evidence and one burning question. Who really owns the road Brenda keeps trying to control? A young clerk, Sarah, took our documents skeptically at first. A 1987 survey? This area has seen a lot of changes since then. Emily stepped forward confidently. We just need it overlaid with current maps. This is a legal boundary issue. Sarah took us to the back where she loaded up GIS software, cross-referencing our old map with modern county records. Her face changed, skepticism turning to disbelief. She leaned in, double-checking coordinates. Then she turned to us and said, "This road is not community property. It belongs to your family's trust, legally and completely." The gravel road Brenda had been weaponizing, it was ours. No HOA jurisdiction, no regulation enforcement, no access without our permission. I felt my pulse throb in my ears. You're saying everyone driving on that road is technically trespassing? Sarah nodded. Without your consent? Yes, especially Brenda. She printed the documents and handed us certified copies. That drive home? Different. I wasn't a victim anymore. I was the landowner, and Brenda was about to find out. I called a fence company. At 3:00 p.m. they arrived, tools in hand. I pointed down the gravel road. Build the fence right here across the whole width. Brenda burst from her house, flailing her arms. You can't block a community road. Emily stepped forward, documents in hand. Calm, unshakable. Actually, Mrs. Marcus Webb, this is private property. We have the legal proof right here. Neighbors gathered, watching in silence as the fence went up. Brenda? She said nothing, just stood there, silent, calculating. Then, without a word, she turned and walked back inside. No threats, no phone calls, just eerie silence. And that was more unsettling than any scream. Peterson stopped by later that evening. He stood at the edge of the new wooden barrier, arms folded, eyebrows raised. So, how did Brenda react? Too quietly, I replied, still watching her darkened windows across the road. She didn't yell, didn't call the cops, just walked away. Peterson nodded grimly. That's not surrender, son. That's strategy. Silence like that? It means she's planning her next move. 2 days later, the phone rang. A formal voice on the other end. Mr. Ryan, this is Attorney Smith. I represent Mrs. Brenda Marcus Webb. She wishes to negotiate compensation for road access rights. Ah, there it is. They were done pretending. I agreed to meet at Smith's downtown office. It screamed intimidation. Leather chairs, book-lined walls, silent pressure. Mrs. Webb is prepared to offer $25,000, Smith began smoothly, in exchange for a permanent easement agreement. 25 grand. A tempting amount for a family like ours. Emily and I had discussed it the night before. The kids' college fund, she whispered. We've got house repairs, medical bills. Maybe it's worth it. But something didn't sit right. Smith pressed. This is an exceptionally generous offer. Most easements sell for far less. My client wishes to settle this quickly and amicably. I nodded, playing it cool. I'll need time to think it over, I replied. But Peterson's words rang in my ears. When they rush to settle, they're hiding something. What was Brenda trying to hide? What else did she do? That night, Peterson visited again. He didn't waste time. Hire a surveyor, he said, a professional one. Scan every inch of your land, every addition Brenda's made, her sunroom, her garage, everything. It'll cost money, I warned. He smiled. I'll cover it. If I'm wrong, it's a gift. But if I'm right, well, let's just say your negotiating position might change. The next morning, the land surveyors arrived. They came with tripods, GPS equipment, laser measurers, and ground-penetrating radar. They weren't here for a quick check. They were here for war. Emily brought them lemonade, her nerves barely masked behind polite smiles. Look serious, she said, watching them carefully map every boundary. It is, one of the surveyors replied. We're checking for any structure, fence, garage, sunroom, that crosses your legal property lines. Around 2:00 p.m., I noticed the lead surveyor, Mike, focusing hard on Brenda's property, specifically her sunroom and garage extension. He waved over his partner. They huddled, whispered. Then Mike walked over to him and his expression was grave. Mr. Ryan, we've got a problem. My pulse quickened. What kind of problem? He pointed at Brenda's house. Her sunroom extends 2.8 meters onto your land. The garage, 3.1 meters. That's nearly 180 square feet of illegal construction on your property. Emily gasped. She built her house on our land? I stood there stunned. That sunroom, the one we thought was just a tasteful renovation? A legal landmine. Mike continued, flipping through digital readouts. Sir, under property law, you have the right to demand immediate removal of these structures. This is serious. If it goes to court, reconstruction costs could top $100,000. Just then, Peterson arrived, like he'd sensed it all along. Judging by those faces, he said, smirking, I'd say we found what we were looking for. Emily whispered, so that's why she offered $25,000 so fast. She knows. She knew all along. Mike handed me a comprehensive survey report, GPS data, photos, legal overlays. This is bulletproof, he said, legally binding evidence. Now I held the power, and Brenda, she was about to face a decision, one that would change everything. The next day I called Attorney Smith. He answered, confident. Mr. Ryan, have you reached a decision on the easement offer? Yes, I said calmly, but the situation has changed. We conducted a full property survey. It revealed encroachments, significant ones. Silence, then tension rising in his voice. What kind of encroachments? Brenda's sunroom and garage are both illegally built on my land. We have professional documentation to prove it. Certified, GPS verified. Another pause. Mr. Ryan, surely we can reach a reasonable compromise. Absolutely, I said. Here are my terms. Option 1, Brenda demolishes the illegal structures. That'll cost her over $100,000. Option 2, she accepts all of my terms, which are 1, immediate resignation from her HOA president role. 2, a written public apology to my family. 3, full dissolution of Midlake Properties, LLC. For reimbursement for all legal and surveyor costs. 12,000 shares. 5, and lastly, monthly rent. $500 for the land her structures sit on. $1 for road access. Total $501 per month, every month until she sells or demolishes. An hour later, my phone rang. It was Brenda. No arrogance, no fake politeness, just a broken, trembling voice. Mr. Ryan, I made terrible choices. My husband's gambling debts, Marcus's idea. I was desperate. I'm so sorry. Emily and I listened quietly. You tried to destroy our family, Emily said firmly. You cost others their homes. Are you ready to make this right? I accept everything, all of it, Brenda whispered through tears. Please, I just want this nightmare to end. I recorded the call, every word. 3 months later, the neighborhood was transformed. A new, reasonable HOA president. Families returned. Barbecues resumed. Children laughed without fear of fines. Brenda, she pays us $501 every single month. She drives by, silent, nods respectfully, and every time she does, I raise my coffee mug, smile, and say, Morning, Brenda. Payment came through right on time, from targeted victim to landlord. That's the power of truth, patience, and one dusty old survey map. Sometimes, justice doesn't need a courtroom. It needs courage, proof, and a little patience. Brenda tried to take everything from us, but now she pays rent every single month to the very people she tried to evict. This wasn't just about a cabin. It was about family, truth, and never letting bullies win. So if you believe in poetic justice and standing your ground and turning your pain into power, hit that subscribe button. Share your own HOA horror stories in the comments. And don't forget to like this video if you believe karma always comes back, sometimes with interest. This is Ryan, signing off from the porch my grandfather built, where the coffee is hot, the rent is paid, and peace is finally ours.